That members of the East Africa Legislative Assembly will finally be sworn in today after Kenya removed a major hurdle in its way. The ceremony in Arusha will begin with the swearing in of the new members of the Assembly. The House suspended its sittings earlier in the year following the standoff in Kenya over the nominees to the House. Parliament here in Nairobi finally voted in the 9 members, drawn from NASA and Jubilee. Former Kamkunji Member of Parliament Salmon Bugwa has been named as the leader of the Kenyan chapter, while NASA's Kennedy Kalonzo will be the deputy. Today's session will also involve the election of the Speaker of the Assembly, a position that was held by Uganda's Daniel Kidega before the Assembly broke.
This position of the 4th East African Legislative Assembly. This is usually a rotational chair, according to some members. We have our own laws. Here I mean the treaty, which says that the Speaker's chair is rotational. That means no country can run for the second time until all countries have been able to sit on that chair. We cannot have the SG that comes from Burundi and a Speaker from the same. For Tanzania to vie is also not understandable because we have laws that are very clear that have led the seat, so I do not know why they are doing this really. To the surprise of many, however, Burundi and Tanzania also provided their candidacy for the Speaker's chair. We cannot have the SG and the chair from Burundi. For Tanzania to vie is also not understandable because we have laws that are very clear. They have led this seat, so I do not know why they are doing this really. The issue is now of leadership really, because we cannot have the Speaker from Burundi, then have an SG from the same country. Who will govern who? They should not be running at all and let the rotational process continue because the community is here to stay. We cannot start a session divided like this. This happened in 2012 and we refused. We cannot let this happen. I am sure we will refuse this too. Political analysts debate that this could be showing cracks on the wall of the community.
The
4th session is expected to finish up what was started. We have so many pending issues in the House. They should run and finish this. However, it's like some countries do not speak the same languages, which I call the block of the willing. Others seem to be dragging us behind. It is not right. Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda have already led this assembly.
So we want to now bring in my colleague Eugene Nangwe. He's joining us live and direct from Arusha. Eugene, good morning. What can you tell us about the ceremony so far? Has it started, and who have you been able to spot?
Good morning, Betty. As we speak, members of EALA, including those who have been newly elected to this particular assembly, are streaming. The session is supposed to be taking place this morning. Top on the agenda is the swearing-in ceremony of all the 9 members of each of the East African Community member states. And of course, it will be followed by the election of the Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly. Betty, I can tell you that we are looking up to a possible showdown, looking at the fact that there are 2 more countries that have actually fielded in a contestant for this particular position. We had all thought that since it is a rotational kind of basis where Rwanda was supposed to be taking this particular seat, but surprisingly Tanzania, that has already had a share of this particular seat, is also fielding a candidate for this particular position. Burundi as well has a candidate for this particular position, and that means that Rwanda's candidate Martin Ngoga will not be having a smooth sail in this particular one. But interestingly, Uganda's member Mbide has actually filed for a motion to strike out Tanzania's participation in this particular contest. And so it is something that is interesting to see how it goes down, because they say that Tanzania's participation is null and void and contravenes the constitution of the East African Legislative Assembly as far as the issue of rotation is concerned when it comes to taking up this particular seat. And it is also interesting to see how Rwanda is going to actually mobilize support from Kenya, which is not fielding any candidate, and also Uganda. So this is something that we'll be looking forward to see how members are going to play this out as far as, lobbying and voting is concerned, Betty.
All right, so what will be top on the agenda once the swearing in has taken place? This process really has been delayed for at least actually a couple of months. What are we expecting is going to be part of the agenda once everything is set?
Right, top on the agenda as far as this particular sessions are concerned here in Arusha, Tanzania, will be definitely, yes, the election of the EALA Speaker, but also the election of heads of each of the East African Legislative Assembly commissions. And these commissions are the ones that are actually going to be spearheading the projects that the East African Legislative Assembly is going to be partaking after this particular session. So there are also 6 standing committees which definitely are going to be getting into business as far as East African Legislative Assembly business is concerned.